Hello, I'm Tommy Moore, founder of the Bartitsu Lab, and today we're going to be looking at some types of concealed weaponry that would have been prevalent in the time of Bartitsu. And indeed, you can still find many iterations of these kind of things today. So we're going to explore their anatomy, what they're like, how they're used, and if they're effective. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to weapon number one. So this here, you see this is a bridle strap. So this is bridle strap leather. A small weighted head, I say small, yeah, about 1.5 inches. Again, it's like heavy fishing weight, like so. This is called a brock. This is available by Davidson Leather. Brock being an old Saxon word for badger, because it is small and it is deadly and it is evil. So I quite like the brock. This is very robust leather. Now, a couple of ways you would use this. So I like the casting method. So you put your hand through this bridle loop here. I have a saber grip style here on my thumb. I maintain a usual boxing stance and I cast this forward. I use the whipping momentum of this fabric, of this leather, to cause the damage, but I maintain the motion as if I were boxing. And importantly for me, that this weapon here should remain in the rear. I don't want to hold this out in front, because as soon as you touch this, this becomes ours. This becomes a shared weapon and no longer useful to me. This is, for the most part, a flexible weapon. Therefore, it's only powerful when it's moving. A knife I can hold here, you don't want to grab it. If I hold this here, if you've got any sense, you're going to not want to be hit by this heavy lead weight. So in this brock system here, I put the hand through the loop, thumb around the back, hold a boxing style guard, and I'll typically go for overhand blows. So things that come down, if you follow Victorian fencing, down in angle 7, straight down the centre. And angle 1, so diagonally down. I think going horizontally is very weak with this weapon. You can't get your muscles behind it. So the vast majority of the blows you've got from this, making sure you've got a decent boxing guard, the weapon in the rear, the front hand to move out anything in the way that's there, or to hold the assailant, so I might hold your lapel, hold your head, or move something out the way, then either vertical strikes down or diagonal strikes. And again, looking at a weapon like this, it carries pretty decent force for its size, thus it's called the badger, but still you want to be aiming for the temple, behind the ear, and along the jaw. If you need to, you can crack down on the collarbone, but it's not going to cause the huge amount of damage you want it to when done anywhere below the head. You can also aim for the wrist and the elbow, but that's very much a secondary or tertiary element to this. It's predominantly a head striking weapon. So hand through the loop, boxing guard back, vertical strikes, diagonal strikes. And you can feint, obviously, so I can feint the lead off, feint, and then strike with this. I can grab and strike with this. Typically, I would move the hand that's unarmed first for either a distraction. So we would call it in Bartitsu and Jiu-Jitsu, kazushi. I'm unbalancing you mentally. So you're looking at the hand, you're flinching, you're moving, and potentially physically, I might jam this in your face and then strike this through. There's no point in using a weapon like this just in isolation, unless you're doing it as a surprise, behind a person, yes, crack them around the back of the head. But once the jig's up, once they know a fight is on, you want to keep this chambered back. You want to use this hand to do some kazushi, do some damage, do some unbalancing. So palm strike and hit, finger whip and hit, grab and hit, punch and hit. Whatever you want to do, but typically this weapon is best held in reserve as a secondary finishing blow. Think of this as your right cross plus plus. This is your right cross with extra damage. So finger whip and hit, palm strike or musette and hit, lead off and hit. And again, you've got some good drawing techniques as well. So if I keep this in a pocket, keep it on the opposite pocket side. So if I do need to quick draw, I can pull it out and do a diagonal blow at the same time. There's no point having my strong hand here, my right hand, and have it in my right pocket. I won't be able to pull it out. So I put the weapon in my left pocket, like so. Then if I need to do a quick draw, I can, and it comes out and I've got enough room and leverage to do a really strong backhand diagonal blow. So that's the use of the brock. It's a lovely weapon, brilliantly weighted, causes some serious damage, is rather light and concealable, fit in a pocket, perfect for Bartitsu, Victorian era self-defense, and indeed self-defense today. Next weapon we're going to look at is called the grink. Now the grink is a very small twist jack blackjack, essentially a kosh. So again, as you can see here, twisted leather, very strong leather. It's got a weighted head. It's a little bit lighter than the Brock, only just, but very significant damage causing here. It's got the loop, but the loop really is extra surety. So whereas the leather on the Brock was bridle and thick and designed to be part of the flexible weapon mechanism, in this, you should hold it by the handle. This strap is just for extra surety. Now I find holding it here and applying this saber grip just underneath the bulbous part here means I can cause some serious damage, but without the risk of it becoming too flexible. I don't want it to flex too much. I still want it to cause some serious damage. So I kind of hold it with the thumb here just underneath the business end of this kosh. And again, it's very similar principles to the Brock in that I would typically aim it like so. I might withdraw my boxing guard so you don't even see I've got this. So if I take the strap off, which you're more than able to do, you can barely see that I'm armed with anything. You know, it's only once this shot is out that you know you're in some degree of danger. Hopefully by then you're asleep. So again, with the Grink, it's small, it's compact, can fit into a pocket. The strap is something you need to make the decision if you want to keep it or not. It adds the extra security. So as a weapon for security, under the bed or in your glove box, absolutely fine. If you're taking it on the road, if you're taking it in your coat, I would remove this bit and just have the small club. Using the Grink, like so. Again, overhand and diagonal shots are the best with these. You can, because you've got the shaft to it here, you can use it for short, sharp thrusts to the eyes or to the throat. If you are going to do that, it becomes more of a pistol grip. So you'll roll it over like so, and you can jam it into nasty bits, into the eye, behind the ear, into the throat. But that's very much a secondary purpose of a blackjack like this. In reality, this is a percussive striking tool first, a thrusting or pressure tool second. But again, very small, very effective, very powerful. The benefit of this is its concealability. You're hit by it before you know it even exists, before you know that this is in the fight. So again, if you're thinking offensively, brilliant weapon to have on your person, easy to play, easy to use. If it gets taken off you, it's not an awful weapon to fight against. And I always think about, whatever you bring to a fight, be prepared to fight against it. So if this gets taken off you, you can still survive a decent fight with that. If you carry any bladed articles or heavier bludgeoning items, that can be a bit more tricky. Whereas this, it works really well in your favour, and you can also defend against it if you really have to. Brilliant weapon of surprise, brilliant weapon to add as an ancillary to any of your boxing techniques. Finally, this is an experimental developmental weapon by Davidson Leather. All of the weapons you've seen today are from Davidson Leather. Amazing guy, can make bespoke orders, fantastic stuff. We're giving this the name the Brody for now because it looks like the British World War I, World War II helmet. So as you can see here, it's like a small cap and a strap here. And there's two ways to use the Brody. So first way to use the Brody is like a mini duster. So depending on your fingers, I'm going to use my two middle fingers. I close this, I've got quite a solid lead weight in here, and I strike and I box with this. So again, I can do my normal everyday boxing strikes with the added percussive power of this particular element. I'm a heavyweight boxer. I can hit pretty hard. I've bashed some serious bags and bobs with this. Doesn't hurt my fist at all. So again, if you're worried about that, this can take a serious hit. So unless you're hitting with some monstrous power, and I've tried it pretty damn powerfully, this will just be on your side. This will be your friend. So the Brody is really good. And again, this is very easy to conceal. This could fit into most wallets, most pockets. You pull it out, it's just a leveler. It's a brilliant leveler. So that's one way of using it. You can use it to complement your boxing. If you're not boxing orientated, or boxing is not the strongest part of your game, you might want to consider this way. So you put it so the weight is inside here. Now, this is more for open hand slaps. So again, slapping with this behind the ear, driving this into the chin. So again, you want to make sure it's down on the base of the fingers. You don't want it too far up. You want to bring it down, tighten the strap so it's relatively tight, and you can use it this way. And this is a great way to use some atemiwaza, so striking techniques to lead to grappling, because I've still got open hands to use for the grappling. Admittedly, I can still grab with it on my knuckles, but for example, I might decide to slap with this, then get the lapels, then do a reaping throw. But again, the Brody is very versatile. You can use it for slapping and afterwards grabbing, or you can use it for percussive punching. A very interesting, very useful little weapon. It'll be interesting to see how this develops, but I can see lots of good uses for this. It's very clever, very convenient, and does give you an extra edge.